Have you ever wondered how you'd power a roller coaster in the middle of a valley in Wales with no electricity grid and just solar panels, batteries and a generator? Let us show you. It is day 3 on this installation. Yeah, it's been a little bit of an awkward one with the design, getting the design concept from Givenergy and the generator guys, but we finally got there. We figured out what's going on. Site have 2 generators, a large generator and a small generator, and they're used for different things at different times of peak demand. They now have 2 25 kilowatt solar arrays on each of the buildings, and they have a 50 kilowatt Givenergy commercial battery system. The 2 solar arrays, they were connected locally into the local distribution board. So one was connected in building 3, one was connected in building 2, and the battery is in building 1. What was happening when it was originally installed by the original installer is that 50 kilowatt of solar generation, when site wasn't using it, it was trying to export, but because there was no grid, it couldn't export, so it backfed 150 kilowatt onto the generator and basically blew the generator up. So what we've come up with is rewire the inverters to take a dedicated supply to each inverter, and that's through the ducting, through the building, back to building 1. We're going to parallel connect it to the Givenergy inverter battery system. It's not an ideal setup in terms of the generator, because what the generator company have done is they've separated the battery supply from the generator supply via a changeover switch. So you can now only use generator or battery solar. Ideally what should have happened, there should have been some sort of ATS where it controls the battery, the generator, the solar and everything else. But the way this is connected now with the solar on the commercial battery is that will charge the batteries. If the generation is too high and not needed, the Givenergy commercial battery will change the frequency of the solar and shut the solar down and just stop it generating. And the plan is site are going to switch over to battery at night to power the cabins, the site, everything else, and then during the day peak demand they'll be back on generator, and the batteries will be charged up. I think the frustrating part about this design is site are actually getting grid connected in Q4 of this year. So actually if they'd have just waited a little bit, we could have connected the solar and the battery with a generator backup in a more conventional method, and it would have worked a little bit better. But you know, we can only work with what's in the design that's there, and really trying to get this site working for the customer basically. So we're almost at connection point today, so I'll go get ready and then we'll shoot over to site and show you what the connections are looking like and give you a little tour of the site. We can see what's going on. This is the Airbnb that we've booked locally because we're in the middle of nowhere in Wales. And what does every Airbnb need? A photo of Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal Lecter. But that's not the weirdest thing. Come and take a look at this. Yeah, it's a house on the back of the pub, but it's also a licensed zoo. Peacock up there is doing its thing. There's some cranes. There's a couple of wallabies in there, some meerkats. Yep, that's what woke us up. And all this is in a pub garden. We're on site now, over at Zip World, and what we've got is the roller coaster room, building 2, and right over there, building 3. We've now brought in a new supply from building 3 all the way through building 2, all the way to building 1, and again another supply from building 2 to building 1. These are one of the biggest consumers on site. So each one of these carts is 20 kilowatts. Generators out here. Now I'm not an expert with generators, so we've got a big one and a little one. When site are using this roller coaster, they manually switch it over to the large generator, and typically when it's not being used, the small generator runs the site. However, now they've got the battery storage, the new design of this site is to use the solar to charge the batteries during the day. They'll then switch over to solar consumption at night, which will power the site, and then back in the day they'll switch over to generator. This is the Givenergy 50 kilowatt system. It was actually installed by Givenergy, or put in place by Givenergy. This is where we're doing our connections. So we've got AC1 being a parallel grid connection. So the inverters get paralleled up to that. And we've got AC2 being a separate feed from the generator panel board, which can charge the batteries on generator tick over. We've got voltage and current sensors on here, which apparently doesn't let power transfer back. If it notices power going one way, it'll turn it off, I suppose. But Givenergy's methods are generator into that, solar into that, and we've attached a three-phase board on here. So we've got fuse protection on the solar. Now they've taken them out of the original local distribution boards. Yeah, so that's the Givenergy site. We're going to get the remaining SWA in and drop it into the box that the site has built, and then we can start connecting up, doing final terminations, and hopefully we can see one of these take off and see what happens to the power. One of the challenges of working on a site like this is coordinating everything with site, with other people involved, such as the generator guys, and being able to switch off power. Obviously it's still trading, it's still a activity centre, so people are still coming, paying customers. But you know what, we're getting there. Givenergy and the generator guys turned up yesterday to commission, but they were a little bit early, and they've added a little bit of extra work onto us. So they're going to commission this next week, as long as we've got all of our cables terminated, we're happy. It's just a shame you don't get an actual design or schematic from Givenergy. It is just sort of figure it out by yourself. Obviously we're not experts with generators and generator panels, so we're relying on their knowledge, because obviously what we don't want to do is damage a generator like somebody's already done. Then that would just really start to cause big problems on site. Carter is just finishing up cable tying all of the armoured. The second armoured's here, so we'll make that off in a second. Quite an interesting design, this. I think I would have gone with the Victron system, because it gives you a little bit more flexibility being off grid. As soon as they do get grid connection, this will be a fantastic setup, especially with the solar edge. Again, I've said it before, I don't think you can beat solar edge in either a commercial or a residential setting. And I do believe that their commercial storage is coming out maybe next year, I think it is. But yeah, I think Nick Blampede did a little video on their commercial storage, which will be great. Okay, so we're almost complete. We've wired up the new fuse board from the Givenergy battery. So that's on terminal AC1. So in a nutshell, we've parallel connected both inverters to the battery powered system. Any other products, if you look at the Givenergy 3 kilowatt all-in-one AC coupled battery, this is just very, very similar but on a bigger scale. So we've just paralleled it up. AC terminal 1 down here, we've fed up through this trunking. Lighting's a bit poor, but into this distribution board. Just because obviously that doesn't give us the fuse protection that we need to run the solar. So we're going to put all that together. So we've just bolted, Matt's bolted this fuse connection unit onto the side of the generator panel, and that's going to give us the protection we need, but also a point of isolation. So this is inside the generator panel. We've got a contactor for the battery supply, and we've got a contactor for the generator supply. It was already done by somebody else, and we can't get in there and change those just yet. So what's happened is they've separated both supplies, so we can't actually physically backfeed the generator and have another accident. And one of the other things that was picked up when it was originally installed was lack of dual supply labels. So we've pretty much put them
at every vulnerable point to suggest there's dual supply and just make sure. But really, I think if you're working on any of this equipment, you'd be safe isolating anyway. So, have you ever wondered how a roller coaster operates? I know I have. Basically, we've got these little sections, almost like a gantry crane. So you've got the 3 phases under there, and we've got a little track that connects to those phases, little pins inside it, and that's what's running along and creating the power. They're insulated, but there's a little pin inside a little blade that moves along. So it's quite interesting, actually. I've never seen this before. So, they've been working on roller coasters and we're going to test it out. See you in a minute. So yeah, 30 mile an hour around this track, powered by a generator. Figure that out. Just a little bit of an update from the job we did over at Zip World. We were there last week. We installed all of the cables, tested it, and Givenergy attended yesterday along with the generator company. They've started to do the commissioning process and they've managed to get site working off grid, so it's working on generator and it's working on battery and solar. So the changeover switch allows them to do that process. Absolutely all working fine. They've got control of the inverters through the Givenergy battery system by frequency shifting, and that'll trip off the inverter when there's excess power. The only caveat to that is because the generator and the Givenergy battery have been split up and put in a generator control panel by the generator company, it doesn't allow the generator to automatically kick in if loads exceed what the battery system can produce. So the battery system's 50 kilowatt, and at the minute when they turn the kitchen stuff on at lunchtime to serve the customers, that's going over 50 kilowatts, so it is causing a little bit of a problem there. Overall, I think this is a great site. The fact that they have this ability now, it is working. So during the day, the solar will collect into the battery. They'll run the site off of the generators. Nighttime, they'll switch over to use the battery, and they'll just keep doing that process until they get grid supply in, which I believe is Q4 of this year. And at that point, we might get asked to return back to put the supplies into the grid and configure it as an on-grid setup opposed to a fully off-grid setup. But yeah, it's been an interesting project to work on. It would have been great to get in from the beginning and help with the actual design and spec of the system. But you know what? We've turned it around. We've got it working. Can't say more than that. We're happy. Join us next time.